Yeah, call to the order to stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you everyone for their attendance and the minutes from reflect the attendance of the various trustees and staff. Let's move on item 8, entertain a motion for the approval of 11-7 Village Board and the file of 7-13 Architectural Review Board, the 9-12 Board of Public Works, 9-14 Architectural Review Board, 10-3 Finance Committee, 10-19 Architectural Review Board, 10-31 Board of Public Works meeting minutes as presented.
I move to approve.
I'll second. Motion is second. As always, comments, questions, clarifications? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Anybody in the audience on a non-agenda item? Move forward. Information has been distributed in the normal fashion. We do have one item. We have an opening, the Plan Commission. We do have an application. The application is in front of you. Jessica did talk to this gentleman. I did talk to this gentleman. He's been very well qualified, so I will entertain a motion for approval of Scott Ewan to the Plan Commission.
Second,
Motion is second. Comments, questions?
can he start tomorrow?
We'll get it. I'll make sure we notice them. All right, notice, motion second, all in favor? Opposed? That motion passes. Move on item 6, resolutions, ordinance, action items. Item A is a resolution approving the adoption of the 2023 program budget and associated tax levy. It's a resolution takes an offer motion a second. I'll offer.
Motion. I'll second.
Offer motion a second. The one most important responsibility of the board, and I think it's been done admirably with that staff level presented to the board and fair discussion. Final comments on the, yes?
I just want to clarify, Jesse, so the tax rate then is $5.99 for 1,000.
That is the village tax rate, to be very clear with everybody. That is the village tax rate. There are the other taxing jurisdictions. That is the village's rate.
I'll put a motion in a second. All in favor? Any opposed? That resolution passes. Congratulations, Jesse, staff, everybody that was all a part of it. Move on to item B, entertain a motion to approve the 15th amended agreement for the operation of the Mid-Moraine Municipal Court. I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion in a second. I do believe has grown slightly.
Yes, the village of Grafton was one of the second group of communities that joined this. However, we are looking to add even more, which this does not change any of the operations here in Grafton, nor does it impact any of our operations. Actually, the benefit to us is that by adding members to this consolidated court system, it actually dilutes the expenses across more stakeholders. So albeit these are smaller stakeholders, but we would see several $100s in savings, if you will, per se, because again, it dilutes the expenses across all of the members. It does extend the terms of officers serving on the administrative committee, of which I am one. I am currently president of the administrative committee for the Mid-Moraine Court, but then also establishing a minimum contribution formula for all members. What was noticed is some of the smaller members weren't contributing in a qualifying way. So that just clarifies that. So at the end of the day, there is no operational nor financial changes to the village other than a small amount of savings that we would see by participating in this court.
Okay. Motion is second. Oh, Dave.
It appears like looking through all the communities, every community. Except we're going to Belgium, our community.
Yes, all of the member communities do have to sign off on the amendment to the operational agreement. So we would be one of those, and that is this action this evening. So each community has to take their own separate action on this contract.
It basically covers both columns, correct?
In essence, yes. Yep.
Except for one or two I see are missing.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And then Jesse, for each of these, talking about the specific communities and how much they'll pay, they're listed, the years for some of them, like Grafton. Maybe on 15th of January, for the years 96, 97, 98. Are those, is that just original language?
That is original language carried over. I'm not sure why the court leaves that original language in there, other than an illustrative point of what our buy-in was
When
at
they
that point in
started.
time, yeah. But the changes, there are changes to that amount over time. It's based upon our activity with the court. As far as how many citations we write, and that need to be prosecuted and other cases and whatnot. So that number has changed over time, but that was our original buy-in, if you will.
Other questions? Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item C is the resolution authorizing staff to submit a immediate vibrant spaces grant application for constructions of Paramount Blues Park. Resolution,
I'll offer.
Motion.
Second.
offer motion second, again, this is grant application for the Paramount Blues Park. Jessica, anything you want to add?
Happy to answer any questions. Forecast
The amount? Oh,
Yeah.
50,000.
50,000.
Yeah. one.
How much?
50,000 max.
Okay, thank you. And we match that, correct?
Yes.
So who actually will be working on this grant? And is it you just have a chamber, Jesse, is it like a collaborative?
Yep.
You, okay.
Yep, and then I review and we send it out. Yep.
Offer motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That resolution passes. Let's move on to item D, report of the Board of Public Works. Two items, item one is a motion recommended to approve the property owner's request for village garbage and recycling service for the year of 2023, with the property owner paying all associated fees. Contingent upon approval from the finance director, which I understand has been approved.
I move to approve.
Second. Motion is second. Obviously, I think everybody understands this is a deviation from our policy, but I talked to Tom. He said this is the one and only single property in the village that this would pertain to, and it looks for a 1 year and 1 year only.
Correct.
Set the property over on 17th and
17th and Falls.
Falls.
Mhm. Yes, sir.
Okay, so motion second, comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item two is a motion to recommend the village board approve the WWTP water and wastewater treatment plant utility Flagland addition project change order number 1 to Brody Brothers of Plymouth, Wisconsin, in the amount of $15,300. Oh, I'll make motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any comments? No, all good. Everybody good? Any questions? Okay, motion second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Let's move on to department and officers reports. Jesse.
Sure, leading off here with a handful of items for the board this evening. Large scale leaf collection is generally finalized throughout the village. Crews do remain out picking up small batches of leaves throughout the village, but the large scale effort is pretty much done for the year as they switch gears to winterizing their operations. The finance department is preparing for a preliminary audit in early December. This is a portion of the village's annual audit process that focuses on adopted policies and procedures. The primary audit occurs in February or March. That is where the audit team visits on site and reviews all the financial records and documentation. So that is really the larger, more significant portion of the audit in early spring. But nonetheless, finance department is preparing for that preliminary work coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Meeting with the Falls Crossing Homeowners Association members, Tillman Development representatives, and Newman Development representatives has been scheduled for next week. This is to discuss the water drainage in that low-lying area along the south side of Falls Road, in between Blue Stem, Falls Crossing, and Riverbend Meadows to the south. This is to talk about the drainage structure that we have in place, how well it's performing, if there any other changes are needed to address the water in that area. It is a low-lying area, so there's some expectation of it being wet, but just making sure everybody is understanding of the efforts that have been taken to date and what, if anything, we need to do to move forward. So looking forward to that meeting. We're hosting that here at Village Hall. Village staff is in the process of organizing a holiday canned food drive for family sharing. All departments will look to engage with all departments to participate. More details on that will be forthcoming, but we anticipate kicking off that event here, a staff level event here after the Thanksgiving holiday. This would coincide with the police department's efforts where parking fines can be somewhat alleviated by donating canned food goods as well. So really just a good complimentary effort during this holiday season. With that, the last item I have, village offices will be closed Thursday and Friday this week in observance of Thanksgiving. So that is what I have for the board this evening.
And I've been asking you all the time, did any further work on that property in Green Bay Road with a realtor?
No, I have not reached out to a realtor yet. With budget completely done and behind us. That is next on my list.
I have a couple, Jesse. We still don't have the scoreboard, right? That's been delivered?
Let's see here. We took delivery of the scoreboard only to find it was damaged.
Right.
We had it sent back. And I believe we did take delivery of the scoreboard again, and we are working with a secondary vendor for the installation, as I recall. Frankly, I'd have to follow up with Chad for more specifics.
Okay, and they may be able to install that this year.
I believe so. I think that probably would be preferred once the ground is frozen, so we don't have to worry about rutting up the park.
And are we all flush on the snow blowing and shoveling over on Quake Road with the homeowner?
Mr. Board?
Yeah.
Yes, we installed a path, we can have taken an agreement with him to install a path through the backyard, so we could get to Quake Road, and that was done.
Okay, so here, so
Okay.
that's finished. And then the only other thing is, are we still going to be getting itemized billings from Houseman and Pine Park in our?
Yeah, that is a standing board's request that should be in the packets. I will make it
Maybe
a
I'm
point to,
missing it. I already-
I will make it a point
Yeah.
to make sure that those are in
Just
there.
remind.
Yep.
Jesse, how are we looking for the holiday parade on Saturday as far as like safety? Anything different than last year, same plan?
It will be the same general plan. It will be slightly different as we do not have that inflow of support from other communities, considering it was immediately following the Waukesha incident. That being said, we do have security plans in place and there will be secured intersections.
Town says we have enough within the community truck wise, that we don't have to go out.
That is my question.
It's a stretch, but we can make it happen.
Correct.
Yep.
You've got a number of businesses within the community that have stepped up to help us out.
Yeah, Jesse, I'm confused with your reply to me today about your mileage.
Sure.
You get a car allowance,
Yes, sir.
right?
Mhm.
And in addition, you would like a mileage.
No, sir. It's actually all part of that automobile allowance. I could drive from here to Pensacola and I'd only receive that automobile allowance in a given year. How it's reported though is actually broken out by taxable and non-taxable mileage reimbursement. And considering I always switch the two, I made sure to print it out. Taxable is paid through payroll, so that all of the payroll taxes are taken out of that as part of compensation to me in my paycheck. And taxable mileage covers out of county travel. So going over to West Bend for these municipal court meetings, what have you. So anything out of county is taxable mileage, and that shows up on my paycheck. Non-taxable mileage is in-county travel. Anywhere within Ozaukee County that I travel, I submit mileage logs to finance under the current IRS rate. That particular set of mileage is reimbursed to me in a non-taxable form and is paid through the AP. That is what you see in the report of bills. So it is all under that annual automobile allowance that I receive, which is my cap. But it is reported in two different ways. There's the taxable and the non-taxable.
So in other words, what you're saying is you cap out at $3,500.
$3,000.
I'm sorry,
Yep.
$3,000. It is just for reporting structures.
Yes, sir.
That you have X amount under non-taxable and X
Yep.
amount under tax.
It's-
So
It's based on the IRS mileage rate. Anything substantiated is considered non-taxable. Anything unsubstantiated is considered taxable income.
and part of your
That's why it's broken out.
So explain to me who qualifies for that sort of thing? If one of us would take a trip for, who qualifies for mileage reimbursement?
Well, this particular system specifically applies to me because that annual automobile allowance is set forth as a benefit to me in my employment contract. Now, if a different staff member travels to a conference, they simply apply for a mileage reimbursement. It is not broken out in the way mine is. Mine is broken out this way because it's handled differently as a different type of benefit. So any staff member who travels for work-related reasons in their own vehicle can claim mileage under IRS rules.
The elected officials receive their monthly stipend, that's to cover their time, their mileage, personal supplies they have to buy on behalf of doing business for the village. That's what the stipend is for.
But no one else other than Jesse at this point in time gets a stipend
In this form, no,
in that current.
correct.
Were the names ever picked from the survey?
Yes, they were, and they've been notified. We have had several reply back to me where I'm able to mail their chamber checks to them. Other ones were notified to bring their letter to Park and Rec to claim their pool pass for 2023. I can forward that list in my weekly bulletin. Sure.
Under Park and Rec, I think everybody here knows, but I think we should get it in the minutes. Maybe send out a nice little congrats to Nathan Napa for her
Yes.
standing citizen of the year award yesterday. Obviously, the Sal is a great organization, but Megan is one of our own, so I think we should, acknowledge that, so. Thank you for that.
Amber, waste management.
Yeah.
A gentleman on Thornapple that hasn't been picked up in 2 weeks.
That's my husband.
Oh,
Who was probably not so nice today. I'm hoping, did he get picked up today? No. So this has been kind of an ongoing issue. That our street is forgotten. And we go 2 to 3 weeks without it being picked up. I think the problem that at this point that he's having, and I just ran over here after work because I knew he was fuming today. And it took for him to post something on Facebook to get a call back. And I think as a community, like, it shouldn't have to get to that point. But for 2 weeks, he was trying to get an answer on, like, how is this moving forward? How are we gonna keep track that our waste is picked up? I mean, the whole street is full of families with little kids, and we really did. I mean, our garage is packed with
Amber,
garbage.
you have the details?
Last name Gerke?
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't even see the posting on Facebook. I just got a message from him today. It's the first time I've heard something. So
Yeah.
I called him back as soon as we got the voicemail.
You guys trade some contact information, so we, nice lady can get some follow-up.
Absolutely. So obviously they're having staffing issues. I can't speak to details of that, right?
It's just crazy because like. And the people next to it, like, are.
Yeah.
We're
Thornapple is
on the corner, so.
consistently missed, and I don't know why. I know obviously you're on the border to Cedarburg, so it's one
Right.
community of contract versus
All
another.
right,
But
well,
it's.
I think, it's great that you bring us, and I know you have exactly the right people that you're talking to, so Amber, again, you can follow up, let us know what's going on, and, I didn't catch your name. but-
My name's Erica. Yeah, it just has been like a 2 week process of, yeah, we're promising we're gonna pick it up today, and then again, didn't get picked up.
Name and address, please, for the minutes.
Yeah, the last name is Gerke. Gerke. And the address 301 West Thornapple Lane.
All right, we'll get on it.
okay, we're approving a bill tonight to municipal well and pump for 76,000 building. Is there any kind of update in terms of improvements to the well and the rehab project? To an unused well?
I don't have the report yet. They did lose power while they were trying to rehab it, so they're still trying to get the safe sample. And I spoke with Marty from Municipal Pump and Well and Pump today, and he's actually in San Antonio, so he's not wasn't able to get it to me today, so. I can give you an update at the next board meeting.
I just wanted to
What-
make sure that
what
we
you-
didn't,
He just verbally told me that it performed better than they expected, but I don't know what that means, and I don't know that he had paperwork confirmed.
right, thank you. We'll wait till next week.
One more question, in your $3,000 reimbursement,
Yes, sir.
so if you don't reach that 3,000, you get it anyway, correct?
I have to substantiate mileage and turn that in to get payment. So if I don't reach a point, I wouldn't get that $3,000. So that is the maximum.
You'll get the 3,000.
Correct. If I go over, it's capped at the 3,000.
Anything else you should share from planning, water, wastewater, works, finance? All right, moving forward, item licenses, entertain a motion for the approval of operator licenses as presented.
I make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion second, on favor,
Alright,
that motion passes.
On the backside, like the lines. On the back.
I know.
Put bills and-
Yep.
All right, entertain a motion for the approval of village expenditure, $625,705.30.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion second, I saw the back and forth. Any further questions on the bills? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? We are,
May I ask? Oh, I'm sorry. May I, Jessica, I should ask you that. Being out last night, I saw some action activity at the distillery.
Hillary's open.
Okay. Good. And Harbor Freight. That open too?
not
I saw people walking in there.
open.
Plus those are employees.
It may be contractors.
Oh,
Yeah, they've got a couple weeks yet, before they can start merchandising.
I'm sorry, I thought it were there.
all right, that being said, entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Have a great Thanksgiving.